Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Industry Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Maria Birova, Clean Health Master Coach and WBFF Pro. And today we have a different take on our Industry Leaders Podcast episode. We have our very own Clean Health Master Coach, Cade Robertson, joining us. And the goal of our podcast today is to really give you guys, and most of our listeners are, either coaches in the industry, people looking to become a coach, or just people who are, consumers of that. And I think this podcast is going to be epic because me and Cade are in the trenches right now. Most of our industry leaders that you guys have listened to that were on our podcast have been doing this for years, if not decades, and have already reached those milestones that we quote as goals. So we're here to be fully transparent of what it's like to be that newbie, to be taking those steps into one day, 10 years from now, Cade and I can look back and be the industry leaders, right? So Cade, we're going to dive right into this episode. Give our listeners an introduction to who you are.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Maria, for having me. Cade Robertson, as Maria said. I'm currently a practicing PT. I'm opening my own gym. I own a supplement company. And like Maria said, kind of right at the beginning, we're starting out now. So I'm in Australia, moved here, as you can tell by my accent, from South Africa a couple of years ago, and got straight into it. I'm still studying at university, sport and exercise science. I had to do an extra year because of the crossover from South Africa. Done my clean health courses, obviously, like we all should. And just really, like you said, at the bottom, practicing PT.
So Cade, how old are you right now?
22.
22. And when did you start finding your passion to draw you towards the fitness industry?
Well, I was playing really high-level rugby back in South Africa. So originally back home, I played for the Reds, and I had a little stint for the Golden Lions as well. And playing there, rugby was always kind of my dream. That was kind of where I was going to go, where I was going to make it. I was always at kind of playing top level when I did play, and injured my shoulder, kind of needed a surgery, tore everything in my shoulder. And that was kind of the downfall for me. I was like, well, what am I going to do now? Rugby was my life. And obviously got into the gym from there, training every day. That was kind of my savior, like just getting into the gym. As we all know, it's not always about the body gains, but sometimes it's about that mental clarity and that headspace. So got into the gym, and that was kind of my savior. And kind of just went from there. Eventually signed up at university, enrolled in sport and exercise science back home, kind of the year after I had to stop playing rugby. And that's kind of where it started. Got into the groove of learning things, and I could then start practicing it in my own gym routine and my own training. And I saw the benefits and the gains from knowledge. And from there, I just kind of never wanted to stop learning and never wanted to stop helping others from there.
Yeah. Did you ever find that there was someone that you looked up to that inspired you to want to pursue coaching, right? Even with the level of education that you pursued going into university, you could have taken your career through a different path. How would you say you kind of ended where you are now with being a practicing PT? And talk to us a little bit about, and you can go from there to talk to us about how you are a practicing PT, like what platform and all of that.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, we had, obviously playing at that high level rugby, we had a strength conditioning coach and exercise scientist with us full time. So I was very lucky. From the age of 15, I had training programs from sport and exercise scientists. Like I was never kind of just messing around.
Yeah.
And so I had him, his name was Henny, and he was kind of my introduction into the educational space of exercise. Like obviously having that sports scientist, having him show me how we can all benefit from everything and how knowledgeable he was, that is kind of what inspired me to get into that route and go down that path. Like I remember sitting down and chatting with him. I was originally going to study physiotherapy, chatting with him, and he kind of cleared it up, and I was like, right, that's not what I want to do. Like I do want to study sport and exercise science and get into it. So he was definitely my first motivating factor. And then did that. So studied first year in South Africa, moved over to Australia. I had to go back into first year because they didn't count my qualifications. So back into first year, extra year of study. From there, I went on to study my ASCA level 1, my Australian strength conditioning, and obviously study through Clean Health, the courses that I've done through there and the certificates that I've done through there. And that's when I kind of got into, right, I'm going to start practicing as a PT whilst I'm still completing my studies in Australia. So the first job I got, I started working at the gym as a receptionist. Actually, I kind of told myself, I was like, right, I need to get into the gym, get my foot in the door. So started working as a receptionist, doing the graveyard shifts, the worst shifts you can do. I was kind of closing at 10 p.m. at night at the gym every Monday to Friday, basically, really at the bottom, the worst. And from there, the gym owner kind of started giving me opportunities, and currently now employed as the high performance coach at this gym, and kind of taken all the sports teams and all the top level athletes. So don't even work with the gen pop at that team. It's only athletes that are, at that gym, only athletes that I work with. So started at the bottom and worked my way up in that gym, but then also got a few jobs as the head S&C with some sports teams. So I started with Avoca Rugby Union, for those that are in Australia, started with the head S&C for that team, did that for a year, and then kind of got, I would say, a promotion, but moved over to Rugby League and got a job as the head S&C with the Arena Eagles, which is obviously a much more professional first grade side. So kind of went that route with my strength conditioning side of things and started working with those teams, coaching those teams. And in terms of the PT, started obviously, as we all should, with just in the gym, face-to-face PT. So started practicing out of a little private gym, taking on clients, just PTing face-to-face. And then COVID was kind of my savior. We went into COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
I set up a little gym in my garage, bought a full set of dumbbells, squat rack, barbell, all of that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it just boomed for me, as I was just promoting myself. I was spending my whole time studying, and I was just booking out days. I was literally doing like 10 sessions a day.
To everybody
just pumped with PTs.
watching our podcast, we can all relate to the COVID era where we purchased equipment for all the people who were like, they shut down our gyms here in the States as well. And there was a panic, not amongst the whole population, but the fit freaks and the ones that
fitness,
just wanted to like take care of their health. Because like you said earlier, fitness and training is not just for the physical. Mentally, the first week or two of not having a gym, I went nuts. Like mentally, I saw that decline. And you also made a really good point, and I think a lot of our coaches can resonate with this in terms of being, on the ground coaching someone in person. In today's age, you will see a lot, and I'm telling you, like, our Instagram is infiltrated with new online coach here popping left and right. I will say, and I'm a firm believer in this, I really do think even just spending even 6 months on the ground coaching people in person will completely change the game and how you're able to transfer that coaching online. And I'll let you continue talking about how you did that yourself too.
Yeah, well, just firstly, 100% agree. That's one of my, I would say, pet peeves, is people going straight to the online world. And I'm like, you learn so much just from practicing face-to-face PT. You learn more than what you're going to in your studies.
Exactly. Like teaching, like each individual person, what a book won't teach you is, okay, this person has this instability. What cue can you give them? You're facing this issue. Now you have to do a different cue. And I think that also applies to like the nutrition coaching as well, which we'll talk about education a little bit more too. But yeah go ahead.
So basically started there doing my face-to-face hours. I did do a little bit back in South Africa just while I was studying first year, worked with a few people, but didn't really knuckle in until COVID here in Australia. So COVID hit, set up my home gym, and that's when I really just got into the thick of things of PTing face-to-face. And it was pumping sessions, and it was really good. I enjoyed it, and I personally had also always had a coach, Lane Fletcher. He coaches me for the last coming on to 3 years probably now. I've had a coach, and we did everything remotely online. So I learned a lot through him, kind of just also, as I'm sure a lot of people on your will, you learn from your mentors, from your coaches, a lot more than you generally do in studies. So I got a lot of learning and practice from him. And then kind of when COVID cleared up, a lot of people went back to gym. So I lost obviously a few of my sessions. And as I'm sure you know as well, as a starting out PT, that's one of the issues, is it can be very volatile. One day you can be doing 20, 30, 1 week you can be doing 20, 30 sessions. The next week you can lose 50% of that with almost no notice if you haven't set up your business structure properly. So that's almost what happened to me. Kind of COVID, I was loving life, making so much money, doing so many sessions, like living my life. And
that's crazy.
COVID finished, the gyms opened, and I lost, I would say 60 to 70% of my clients.
That is so
Um,
interesting to hear, because I just wanted to chime in. I experienced the complete opposite. When they closed gyms, I was mostly in person with my coaching. I
yeah,
was, the upper 30 to 40 hours. Like, I was working full time as a PT on the gym floor. And when COVID hit, there was a huge chunk of my clients that just were like, we're not even going to risk it. And then I lost them, right? I was like, oh, the
yeah,
biggest portion of my income is completely gone. My bills are not gone. And that's another thing we can go into a conversation about too, like supporting yourself as a young adult with this passion and career with such a volatile environment. And so I had to think quick. And luckily, right before the pandemic hit, I invested some time to create an online platform to coach my clients, because I knew nutrition had to be a big aspect of that. And I can only do that with something that was a little bit more organized and clear. So I made an app instead of doing Google Drives and things like that. I just use an app platform. And luckily for that, I was able to transfer not all of them, but about 60 to 70% of them online. Still a chop in my
yeah.
plate. But once the gym's open again, not only did I have
Everyone
my
came back.
online support me, my in-person boom back again. So it's very interesting
Yeah,
to see how, even though we kind of experienced the same dynamic of shift, it was the opposite, which is really,
the opposite shift.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think the biggest difference for me is that I wasn't really practicing before COVID.
yeah,
Like everyone had kind of known me, I guess, as this fitness guy and this guy that was also educated in the fitness space, obviously because I was studying or am studying at university and I was putting that out. But I wasn't really PTing before COVID because I kind of just
yeah,
had my job. I was making money. I wasn't too worried. I was doing everything I was doing and just completing my
yeah,
studies. And yeah, that's when people started reaching out during COVID. They saw I had a gym, and because originally I just bought the gym for myself, like
yeah,
you said, like I couldn't handle not training.
yeah,
People started reaching out, started training them, and yeah, that's when I kind of was like, all right. I had a chat with a lot of my friends, and this is, I guess, for the PT starting out, you are going to doubt yourself in the beginning.
yeah.
Because I remember calling, who's now my business partner in the gym I'm opening, I remember calling him and we went for a walk and a coffee. And he's, I would say, the most successful PT on the coast here in Australia. His book's always full. He's a great, great PT. Oh, you met him, Mitchell
Oh,
Briggs. He did the filming with us. He's great PT, great guy. And I had that conversation with him and I was like, look, I know that I know a little bit of what I'm talking about. I'm about to, like, I think I should dive into PTing full time,
yeah,
but I'm scared. Like, I don't know if it's going to work. I'm going to quit my job, go into that.
yeah,
What if I don't make money? What if I don't get the clients? And I'm sure a lot of PTs experienced that first time when they were starting out. And he just kind of reassured me. He was like, dude, people know you, they know what you're talking about. Like, just get into it. And he was like, you can only try. Like, give it a crack. It doesn't work. Like, you can go find
all
another job. Like, yeah, exactly. He was like, give it a crack. If it doesn't work, you go find another job. And I did that. Kind of dived into PT practically full time, and it was a semi-slow pickup. Like I think I only had like 1 to 3 clients to start out with, and obviously my rates were low as well. And then it just kind of, you got to be persistent, and you got to just keep pushing, keep marketing yourself, keep advertising, and you have to learn so many new skills because you are running a business
yep,
now. You're not just PTing, you're running a business. So you have to learn how to market yourself, how to advertise, like all of those aspects of business you need to kind of dive into your PT business.
yeah,
And did that, and yeah, eventually it kind of just boomed, and I became, I would say, semi-successful PT. Like I had quite a few clients,
yeah.
and did that for months, and then that was when I decided to make the shift to online. Obviously,
I think it's really important
yeah,
that, like, any PTs in the beginning, well, like when I first started pursuing coaching, I was 17 going on to 18, and I was in school. I was actually studying to be a nurse, switched that to business, and I was like, this is not doing, like, it's not making my passion, my soul on fire. Like, I felt so dull.
yeah,
So I chased being a PT. Everyone doubted me. Everybody in my family was like, you're going to college, you're doing this. I just was so passionate about and fascinated about fitness because of my own struggles. And that's a story for another day. But like, I just wanted to learn more. And I'm very grateful for the mentor that took me in as a PT before I got certified, while I was getting certified, and would let me train with him at his gym, a little private
mm,
gym. And here's the truth, guys. I was working 3 jobs and one of them was being a PT at the beginning. And I knew that, you know what? I know that the more, because at the end of the day, when you are young, it sucks, but it is a little bit of a disadvantage because you are a newbie, right?
Yeah.
Someone would rather hire someone who's done it for longer. But what I had as an advantage was I was eager to learn and learning more and more and more. It's like a dry sponge ready to soak it all in. And over time, if you're truly passionate about it, you know, it went from 3 jobs to 2 jobs to now this is my entire career. That is
full time
lifestyle and everything that I have. It's just, you guys have to just be like really diving in deep into knowing that if this is your passion, it's going to suck for a year or two. But if you keep doing what you're doing and believing in you, you're going to attract the clients. There's more of them than there are of us. That's just the truth.
Yeah, 100%. And I think if you're passionate about something, you're going to put that hard work in. Like if you're waking up and going to a job that you hate, like why are you going to put 100% in? You're going to put in the bare minimum, and you're literally going to do the bare minimum that's going to help you just not get fired or not get in trouble. And that's going to be that at a job that you hate. But if you're following your passion, like we are, and I'm assuming most PTs are, you're going to wake up and you're going to be keen to go to work. You're going to be excited to go to work, and you're going to put 100% in every session, every single day, because it is your passion. And by doing that consistently, it's eventually going to have to skyrocket. If you're putting in 100% effort every day, why wouldn't it explode?
And it's not easy. The people that, like I said, are industry leaders that we interview, usually it's not an overnight success. Sebastian says this, and I repeat this every time. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success. We see people winning, being successful, but we don't see the time period when they're in the trenches because it's not popular to focus on that. It's like, whatever. So they're like, wait, how did that happen? We don't see those late hours. I used to always throw shade at 9 to 5s until I realized that when you're running your own business, you are definitely working
full-time.
Triple that. It's not 9 to 5, it's triple that. Your mind is constantly thinking about it. So truly, if you're in it for the right reasons, you will ride through those difficulties. And it's that type of thing where all PTs kind of face it, but we don't talk about it. It's not like it's the truth. There are gonna be those ups and downs with those self-doubt and like drops in money, and you're like, shit, is this even the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? So let's talk a little bit about that. Have you ever faced, while being a coach in person and then even online, and then we'll talk about the difference of the dynamic of the two, ever come into the point where you're like doubting yourself because maybe you had a bad interaction with a client where they discontinued working with you, they didn't see results because it was on their end? Talk to me a little bit about that, like how you processed that at the beginning.
100%. I think it'll come down to when I lost my first client. Like, I think that's one thing.
That hurts the most. It hurts.
I think everyone remembers when they lose their first client. Like you pick up these clients, you feel like you're doing so well, you're giving them great programs, and they leave, and straight away you're like, I suck. Like I remember, the towel. I remember like losing my first client, just getting a message from the bloke saying, "Oh, like I'm not going to come to training anymore," whatever. And I was like, "Shit, shit." Sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
This is a fully rated PG, rated R. It's all good.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, like I suck. Like this guy has left me. I thought I was doing a good job.
What am I?
Clearly, I wasn't. Yeah, like that's kind of how I took it. I was like, what am I doing wrong? And that was kind of the first part. Like obviously self-doubt. Like, or even now, to be honest, like even now, I still doubt myself. Like, am I good enough? Like you said, you see all these top coaches that have been in the industry for years, and you doubt yourself. You're like, am I good enough? Do I know enough? Like, am I actually helping these people? Like, I do it all the time. I'll wake up, I'll sit at night and be like, how can I get better? Because I still feel like I'm not there. Like, I still feel like I'm not good enough to be helping these people. So the self-doubt is definitely real. But yeah, when I lost my first client, that was a big ego knock. And then, like I said before, when you lose that income stream kind of at the drop of a hat, or you lose clients kind of straight away, that's another one where you're like, right, is this for me? Do I need to stick it out? Like it can be things like, I don't know. Oh, is it summer there for you guys in the States now? Yeah. So see, it's winter for us. And I don't know if you experience this, but during winter, so many people are unmotivated to train. Like we get it. Like now, even the gym I work in now, I went in there yesterday. There was literally like
for all of our listeners,
you saw the
who
gym.
aren't familiar with the weather in Australia, I'm from Chicago and we get sub-zero winters. I was in Australia and their winters are like 60 degrees and they're wearing jackets. So for all of those people listening who experience winters, just know that their winters are a little different than ours. But I still that. Yeah, it's still different. It's still cold. It's still like a
Yeah, like yeah, and I think I was speaking to a couple PTs this week from it, and everyone's had a drop in
yeah,
clients in this last month, just because of
yeah,
winter. And it's literally because it's now dark. Like it used to be bright by like 5:30 a.m. Now like 8 a.m. it's still dark, and no one wants to get out of bed because it's dark, it's cold, it's raining, and no one wants to get out of bed. No one wants to go train, so you lose clients. Obviously, it is you can have a little role in helping your clients obviously be
yeah.
compliant and get motivated, get to the gym, keep going, but you will lose some clients, and that's another one. When you just get a knock in clients and it's by no fault of
Yeah.
your own, you do doubt yourself. You're like, it can be volatile if you haven't set up a correct business
Yeah.
structure, and you doubt if it's the right industry for you and if you're going to be making money.
Yeah, and I think that's when it's important to make sure that if you are going to be a PT, knowing that there is that fluctuation, just to be prepared. Like, to my
Yeah,
surprise, and I've seen this especially the past 2 years, I do see the, slight drop during the winter, but this year especially, I saw the drop in the summer where people were so confined during COVID that they weren't able to do things and not be able to go
wanted
anywhere.
to travel.
Where now, since it's summer here, they're traveling. They have to be more flexible.
Yeah,
They're not as compliant. They're not training in person, which as soon as fall hits, kids are back to school. I coach mostly women, and a good portion of my in-person clients are like moms and things like that. They're going to be back because they're back in a schedule and routine. So like those types of
yeah,
things where you really have to be smart with your money, and you'll learn that either the hard way or you'll go into it prepared. So it's that type of thing where if you are still at the beginning, having that safety, unfortunately, like a safety net of a sense of either savings or being real and like maybe you might not need to pick up another job. It could be still PT related. It doesn't have to be like fitness
yeah,
related, using the skills that you have. Or we could talk a little bit about like, your online training, right? Maybe if in-person's drop, how can
yeah,
you increase online training? So talk a little bit about, how you're structuring your online business, how that started to grow and you continue to grow.
yeah. I think that was, and that's kind of the perfect lead on is where the online came
Yeah,
from. Like, it is so, like you said, people going on
yeah,
holidays or people just not motivated to get up and train in the mornings or at that times when the
yeah,
sessions are. So, kind of naturally, the progression is to then go into online programming and online coaching because you don't have to be with the person face to face. You can work with more clients. You can work with people around
yeah,
the globe. Like it is, it is a big lead on. Although I still think that you do need to start out at the grassroots face to face PT coaching, but it is a massive door that gets opened when you go into online coaching. If you do
yeah,
it well, the benefits can be insane. So that's kind of what happened to me is I obviously, like I said, I was always coached through an online coach. I knew him. We good mates. I meet up with him at his gym, but he coaches me virtually and he uses Google Sheets. And I kind of started with that. I had a few people that were coming to me for like 1 or 2 sessions a week, but were training 5 or 6 days a week. And we had a conversation, kind of got onto it just by like, oh, look, let me help you out. I'll program your other 4 days that you're doing in the gym on your own, and just started doing it through Google Sheets. And I luckily, and I'm glad I did, I had the mindset of us, I still need to do face-to-face hours before I can go online. Like I just kind of believed I needed to build my skill set up and stack my skill set before doing that transition. And started like that. And then it got to the point where I probably had like 10 to 15 clients on Google Sheets. And I was like, all right, like this can actually turn into a full business. Like I'm willing to make good
yeah,
money here. And then same as you, I moved over to an app. So I use an app. All my business partners, we use the same app to
yeah,
coach all of our clients. So I moved over to the app, transitioned those 10 to 15 people over, and kind of started, like I said, the business side of things, started promoting myself as an online coach and that I was taking online clients. And it grew from there. Now I stuck at around, I would say 10 to 12
yeah,
clients online in the beginning. And I just stuck there and I was like making money from it, but obviously nothing that can be a living. Like I couldn't live off of that money and I couldn't quit my job. I couldn't stop PTing. And kept going, kept going. And the thing that I found is it's just the consistency with, number one, the consistency with promotion. But number two, the thing that's going to get you clients is results. And the thing that's going to get you results is education. So if you aren't educating yourself and you aren't constantly upskilling yourself, you're not going to be able to get your clients those results that they want and that you want for them. But if you are getting them those results, your client influx is going to be insane, because everyone's going to see these people. Everyone's going to see the good that you can do, how you can help them, and they're all going to want to jump on board.
Important just to chime in on like the level of education and knowing that when you're at the beginning, you're not expected to know everything. And it's like this like imposter syndrome where you think you're supposed to know it all.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though, you'll never know it all. Even the best in the industry who have been coaches for decades will still say they don't know it all, because there's so much forever to learn and everything is constantly changing. It is okay. And I actually admire it when coaches are like, you know, it's out of my scope, or I'm not too familiar on it. I will look up, you know, I've learned so many things from things I didn't know that a client challenged me to, like, they asked me something or there's a challenge that they're facing. And I'm like, I actually don't know how to solve this. Let me learn. Right. It's like with those supplemental education, and prior to becoming a master coach for Clean Health, I took all of those courses. Like I knew here in the States, in terms of education, we have NASM. NASM kind of fell short for me. That's my own opinion. It's the standard CPT certification that's needed for commercial gyms. I took it. My private gym doesn't require it, but I took it because I wanted to be qualified, you know, so God forbid something's to happen, I'm qualified to, you know, do what I'm doing. But truly the learning went from taking that next step to take the additional courses. And that's when I started realizing like nutrition, that was a big thing that, you know, having a 1, 2, 3 hour session a week with your client, it ends there. Results come from, I really do believe nutrition, and it's mastering how to do that. And even to add to this, taking a bunch of courses is not going to help you if you're not applying them and actually practicing them and making mistakes. It's okay to make a mistake. But go ahead.
Yeah. That's a big point too. Like that I see people make the mistake so often is they do a course, but they don't change anything that they're doing. Like you got to realize that you can change your methods. And if you go and you study and if you go and you study and you learn something new, start practicing that new thing that you've just learned. Like if you learn a new way to program, a new way to structure, if you want to train, change and trial different programs, do that. Or eating, like do what you are studying, put it into practice. Otherwise there's no point in studying it. But that was kind of me transitioned onto an online app. And so I was still PTing, still using the app, and kind of just kept pushing it. And I started getting some really good results with some clients, and people started to notice and people started to talk about it. And that was when it kind of, took off, and I picked up more clients. Eventually I was working with like 20 clients online, and I reached out to my mentor Lane, who was helping me with he coaches me. And I said to him, because he has a full online coaching business, I said, at what point do I go completely online? Like at what point do I do it? I was like, it is time consuming now. Like I'm working with 20 people. It's taking up a lot of time in my day. Like I'm calling each person every week. I'm like always on their programs, making updates, making comments. Like it's taking a lot of time. And he was like, when you can lose 40% of your clients and still be able to live is when you should go fully online. Because he said, like, we know it is volatile. If you like, obviously I've got, and I think all coaches should have like a 12-week minimum that clients have to sign on for. So I do have that. But if you've got clients that can drop off at any time, you could have a bad week and lose 30% of your clients, and you've just lost 30% of your income. And if you're not prepared or you're not able to survive with that, then you're going to be in for a really
and that's
tough
when
time.
like things can get really messy as well. And it's like, that's one other thing we could talk about a little bit. And we, as a coach, and especially at the beginning, and you're not making a lot of money in capital, you can't invest in someone to manage your business, your marketing, your accounting. You wear all the hats at the beginning. You learn,
you do everything,
but it's really important that you are taking into consideration these things. Like, for example, business structure. And we're going to talking a little bit about pricing and stuff, because I know as a beginner, regardless your age, but even as a beginner who's young, pricing can be so intimidating. I remember being the cheapest one at my gym. And my boss was like, the owner of the gym, he's not really a boss, but he's the owner of the gym. He goes, you're not allowed to charge this much. I'm like, but I'm not going to be able to get clients. He's like, I'd rather you have 2 clients that are paying you this amount that's much higher, that's double and a half of what I was charging, than you having 4 or 5 clients paying you the smallest amount but not being compliant.
Yeah,
And it was thinking, he was like, you need to value yourself and how much education you have. You may
that's
be
it.
young, you may be the youngest one in this gym, but when we pull up your portfolio of the education you have and your experience in terms of like all of that time and effort you invested, they don't have that, right? That's one up. And that is
Yeah,
honestly, until you build up those years of experience, that's your key, in my opinion.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree. Like I obviously, I think everyone coming into the industry faces the pricing challenge. Like you you never know where to price yourself. You never know what's fair, what's not. Like it is hard. There isn't a rule book. Let's put it that way. Like you're not gonna in your studies, no one's gonna tell you
No.
what to price yourself at. No one's gonna tell you how much is too much, how much is too little, or when to up your rates, when to drop your rates. Like it's never kind of spoken about. And I definitely struggled, and I'm sure we all have. When I started out, I kind of started my pricing way too cheap, as you said as well. But in saying that, I do think it's a two-way street. Like you can't start out too cheap, but you've also got to realize that you are starting out and
Yeah.
no one knows you. No one knows your results. You can't come out here and be charging like 200
I
a week on an
coached
online
my
program
3
because
friends for
it's
free while I was getting my cert in order to get results so I could
that's
get my first actual paying client.
100%. Results is, like I said before, results is kind of
Yeah.
what makes your business. And I did the same. I think my first 5 or 6 online clients were
Yeah.
all my friends for free. Like I did months just training them all for free and got the results, and then used that as the advertising to get my clients. But in terms of that pricing, I've actually had a lot of conversations around it recently, which has helped. It's you want to open up not underpriced, but kind of at like what average pricing is in your industry, in your country, because obviously every area is different. Like even just me on the coast compared to Sydney,
So
it's
like,
almost
what would
double the
you say
pricing in Sydney typically.
average
But
rate of like a PT session in your side of the world? And I can give you at least our average.
yeah, a face-to-face PT session here on the coast, I would say starting out like as a beginner PT, like kind of first 1 to 2 years, would be about $50 to $60 for a
And then
45
what
minute
about
session,
for
I would say.
like
And
a
then
good established PT, like how you would be like saying now, what would be the average cost?
yeah, well, if you head into Sydney, you typically, and you're going for a great PT, you typically won't pay less than
Yeah.
150 for a session. So
With the price conversion,
yeah,
I'm not going to go into all of that. For us here, like in our area, when you're like in the North Shore, deep in the city, an hour session, PT session, on average is anywhere between $90 to $110. There are some gyms that offer things for cheaper, but I'm a firm believer again, and this is different than being a newbie and kind of trying to get your foot in. You pay for you get what you pay for. Yeah.
100%. And like, yeah, it's kind of this, like you said, similar here. The pricing, it does range and is different. But number one, you get what you pay for. But number two, on the PT side of things, if your rates are so cheap, like you said, you're going to have
That's a
non-committed clients. You're going to have people that, yeah, like if you're setting your rates so low, you kind of you're valuing yourself as a low quality PT, and you're then going to get low quality clients. So if your rates are low quality PT, you're going to be pulling in low quality clients. You're going to have clients that you don't want to train because they're not motivated, they're not committed to their sessions, they're not consistent. Like it's
and they're not
not going to
see
be
the
fun.
results, which are
And
what you need as a coach too.
exactly, because they're not going to be doing the work. They might do the work in your 1 hour session, but if they're looking for the cheapest PT to save some money, they're not going to be doing the work the other 23 hours of the day because they don't want it bad enough. But if you, as you start obviously valuing yourself more and positioning yourself higher in that price market, you're going to get the more committed and determined clients because those clients realize that, like you
I
said, you
think
get what you
it
pay
also
for.
comes for all of our listeners of like not being afraid that no one's going to pay for you, that they'll go the cheaper route. Because here's 2 things. One, they'll go the cheaper route and it'll F them up, and they'll come to you after and be like, shit, I should have just started with you from the start. But those who value
Exactly.
you and want to work with you will pay your rates and will respect the rates that you have. Now, you want to be appropriate with them, but
100%.
especially if you're investing time, money for education, upskilling, whatever it may be, value yourself accordingly. And guess what? Don't be offended if you're doing, let's say, and we'll talk about this. I want to learn a little bit more and share about how you do onboarding, because I think that's an important thing. But when, if you're onboarding a client and you're scared about the rates portion because they seem like they're all for it until you say rates, if they're not able to afford it, that's a different thing. If they choose not to prioritize a portion of their pay for you, that's also, you can respect that. Don't feel bad. It's not about you. It's you're charging too much, because someone's going to come in and without question be like, okay, sending it to you, and putting in, like you
100%.
said, the work and effort. And I did that this year, and you guys, it was opening for me with I upped my in-person, but my online, I was always hesitant because it's like, like kind of hesitant
I
here.
was
And
the
I was like,
same.
no, like I have reached a point where I'm putting in so much time and money into like my education, and I'm getting to a point where I'm for trying to get results from people who are not willing to put it in. And when it's cheap, it's like, nah, it was just $80, or is that whatever. But when it's like dent
Yeah,
in their wallet, you'd be like,
that's
crap, man, I'm gonna actually gonna try because I'm
yeah,
spending so much money.
exactly. And I think it only takes your first client to be paying that money that you
Oh,
realize, all
too
right,
good.
I can actually do this. Like I am actually worth it. Because I remember that's what happened to me. I was the same. Like I was able to put my in-person prices up, but I think it's because we had been doing it for so much longer. Like the online
Yeah,
space was still new to us.
yeah,
Not new, but relative to in-person. But I remember putting my online rates up, and I was like, right, like the next client I get, my rates are higher now. So when they ask me, like, this is the rate, I'm going to tell them. And I was so scared. I was having a meeting about the gym I'm opening. I was sitting with the boys. I'm like, right, I've got like a client onboarding call in 15 minutes. I've got my new rates. And I was shitting myself. I was like, right, they're going to say it's too much. Like, I'm not worth this. Like, it's tough. And I remember getting on that call, running them through like my whole sales pitch, kind of my onboarding process, my services, and getting to the price, telling them the price. And they're like, oh, like that's so cheap. I was
what?
expecting more. And I was like, what?
Never mind.
And like, I've just doubled, and yeah, I'm like, oh, well, let's just put more. Yeah. And I literally just doubled my rate from what it
Yeah,
was the day before. I doubled it to a new rate. And the day before, I thought I was like
yeah,
good, well priced. And now I've doubled it. I thought I was way too expensive. I've just onboarded this client and they've told me,
yeah.
oh, like I was expecting more. And I was like, it kind of shows you that there are the clients out there that are willing to pay for a good service. People don't want to waste their time. People know that if you're paying low prices,
It's
you're
just,
going to get a shit service. And yeah, and people are overweighting their time. So they're happy to pay if it means that they're going to
I
get
just think
that
the rule
high
of
quality
thumb for all
service.
of our PTs out there, even if you're just starting with the online coaching, you're not doing in-person coaching, think about the hours you are putting into each client with the online coaching. That is how you should be charging. At minimum, like even though it's like a
Yeah,
fraction of, if you're charging $80 an hour for PT sessions, but you're taking 3, 4, 5 hours with this client, you should not be charging them $80 a month, right? You need to be valuing your
yeah,
time appropriately. So hopefully with us chatting with you guys, and if you're listening to this and you're also scared to charge properly, do it. This is your sign. Like, oh, go ahead.
100%. One I was gonna say one rule of thumb that I've kind of found to be good in the industry is when you're starting online coaching, whatever you charge for a
Yeah,
one-on-one PT session, charging that per week
yeah,
is kind of a good starting point. So if you charge $60 for here in Australia, if you charge $60 for or
yeah,
$50 for a PT session, $50 per week for online coaching is typically going to be all right because you do spend more
yeah.
time than that on their program. Like, but in saying that, that's for online coaching,
Oh, yeah,
not just giving someone a program. You are still coaching them because I've also seen the opposite, and I'm sure you have too. All of these online coaches that are charging outrageous prices, and all they're doing is writing, copy and pasting a quick 12-week block, giving it to you, and
exactly.
expecting you to pay them
Yeah.
millions. Like That's for coaching. We're coaches. We're not just people writing programs, copy and paste, handing
Yeah.
it to you and letting you do your own thing. We're actually running you through this program. We helping you with your form if you're sending us videos. We chatting to you through your training sessions. We designing it to your goals and specific to you. We're jumping on phone calls throughout the week, throughout the fortnight, throughout the month to kind of see where you're at, keep you on track to your goals. It is a coaching session that you're paying for. It's not just this
And that's
handwritten
why I
copy and
think
paste program.
when it comes to some marketing advice and just trying to sell yourself because you're in your services, I want to hear from you. I really saw a benefit of setting up an onboarding/consultation phone call or FaceTime, because a flyer will not put
Exactly.
into words what you actually can offer. And, if you're hands-on, you can reassure
100%.
that client that you have questions, text me. You want form check, send me videos. It's much more hands-on, and I've seen an uptake in clients when I dedicated that 30 minutes, 40 minutes just to hop on the phone call, one, to get them to tell me everything about them, because once you listen to them, you can start using that of like relating and creating that connection with them, versus here's my pamphlet, let me know what you want. That's not going to cut it on the online. Yeah.
100%. 100%. I saw this exact same thing with me. Like originally when we were all starting out, I think we all were just doing like Instagram DMs, like, hey, do you do online coaching? Yeah, dude, this is how much it costs, like blah, blah. You would maybe get 1 out of 10 clients. Like now, I did the same thing, switching to the onboarding phone call. They can book in like through the link in your bio or message you, book in a call, whatever. Having that dedicated time, also where you are dedicated just to that person and that client. You're not having a thousand other things on your mind, just sending a flyer or like sending a message. You're sitting there that 20, 30, 40 minutes, 100% with that client and going through your onboarding process. You can answer the questions, but it's also about showing personality. It's being able to have a conversation with that client to show them that you're a person too, they're a person too. Exactly. Because someone might be the best coach in the world, but if you can't even speak to them, it's not going to be a good fit. You've got to kind of click in with your client, like you said. So the onboarding phone call was definitely a game changer for me as well, as you've said. Like I picked up way more clients after I started doing that. I don't think I've failed to close an onboarding phone call yet. I haven't jumped on a phone call and not closed that
in
client.
the other side of that, if let's say you say rates and then that kind of causes them to hesitate, I do see what I've seen is like if I've hit that point where, okay, we'll reach back out. If anything, I see a hesitation, there's a follow-up question, and then they're usually like, they know that there's their personal connection created, and they circle back and actually end up joining. Because and this is another, we're going to go into the conversation before diving into talking about your gym and supplements, because I want to definitely talk about that too. But giving them free education. I usually always end my phone call with saying, even if you see that the one-on-one coaching is not the right fit for you, make sure you go follow me on social, Clean Health on social. There's heaps of free education out there, and I really encourage taking the time to educate yourself so that you could steer clear from the potholes in the industry that are not evidence-based. And when you hit that point of free, and that's, we could talk about why it's so important in today's age, especially with social media, to be pushing a lot of free education. That really just shows that you care about their well-being, even if they're not able to truly afford you, because that does happen. Inflation in the States is through the roof. I get it. Coaching is the first thing that you could probably cut, right? It's just really about being like showing that you the trust with the client and building that I care about you, regardless if you want to pay for one-on-one coaching.
That's it. 100%. Yeah, just showing that you actually care about them and their well-being instead of just
I do think that for those listening, you could really benefit if you do have a platform. Doesn't matter how many followers you have, even if you have 10, those 10 people like you can use as your platform. Providing free education really changed the game, because it builds. Think about that. You have a client that's probably thinking about coaching, right? You're posting only about you. That's fine, right? That's one type of market niche. But if you're providing free education, you're talking about certain things that mean a person. I've had calls that are like, I saw you made a post about, sustainable eating, and that this is not true. And like, I always thought it was true. And like, it built that credibility. And it also builds a sense of you know a lot of information and you're willing to share as much as possible. So that person, again, builds trust and wants to
That's
be,
it.
have you as a coach because they know that you know what you're talking about and you have the backing for it. So talk to
Yeah.
us a little bit how you've like used your platform, and it doesn't have to be excessive. You don't need 1 million followers to do that. How have you
No,
maximized using your platform?
exactly. Yeah, I think number one, it's just building that social credibility and social proof. Like, you need people to
Yeah,
know that you know what you're talking about, but you also need
yeah,
people to know what you do. Like, if you don't put it out there, like you said, if you don't put it out there that you are online coaching, that you are training people online, you are or in person, that you do have clients, that these are your clients, these are the client
yeah,
results, this is how you can help them, and that you have more spots available. If no one
exactly.
ever knows, you're never going to pick up more clients. That's the first part, is you've got to market and advertise yourself. Um, and number two would be providing that free value, that free content. It's going to secure in everyone that's watching your content's minds that you do know what you're talking about, that you do have some sort of
Yeah.
idea, and you will be able to help them. And I think the other tip to remember is, however basic you think something is, there's at least 10 to 20 people that don't know that are watching your stories that will then want to learn. I could literally post about
And
learning
someone
how to squat every single day, and there will at least be one
Same
person
thing with
that,
like
yeah,
and stuff too. I think
and that,
nutrition is the biggest one because every single day there's something new that's BS in the industry and a lot of misconceptions. And I think when you are a PT or in the fitness industry, your algorithm is tailored to only that content. So you're starting to believe that since that's what you eat, breathe, sleep, and everything, that everybody should just, it's common knowledge. Macros are common knowledge. Calories are
that's
energy balance, common knowledge. It's until you actually start encountering, especially Gen Pop, and start listening and start looking, you'll be like, it's not common knowledge. If anything, it's the smallest percent of people that actually know this, and
100%.
it's important that even if you've made a post about it 5 days ago, it's likely that someone missed it. You got to keep talking about these things, keep stressing it and pushing it. You're so right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. And I think the point that I realized that, I was maybe like, I would say like 8 months
yeah,
into my one-on-one PT coaching, and I picked up a new client, and I'd maybe fallen into that
yeah,
trap, like you said, like you think it's common knowledge, like, but it's because it's your world and your environment that's all you see. So
yep,
you think that's what everyone's seeing. But I picked up a client, and like, I'd done a pre-screening with them. I'd like kind of run through everything, and we're getting into our first exercise, and I was kind of like, all right, we're going to do like 3 sets of this many reps. And he was like,
yes,
what's a set and
yes.
what's a rep? And I was like, that kind of like took me by shock. And I was like, this just shows me how we think things are common. Not like, that's what one of the most
Yeah.
basic things we would say in our industry, like sets and reps. And you think it's common. And here's this guy, he was in good shape. He knew how to train. He knew what he was doing. He didn't know what a set and a rep was. And that's kind of when it clicked with me, and it's stuck with me since then, is that it's not, nothing in our industry is common knowledge to everyone. And you will always get beginners that know absolutely nothing. And it's your job to help
I
educate them
think rule
and
of
put them
thumb, and
along
I've
the right
seen this
path.
across all episodes, is education is really the core of it. And you have to step into the shoes of being a forever student and then a forever teacher. Because if you will last longer as a coach in the
That's it.
industry if you keep pushing that growth for your own education, but you will actually learn more if you're able to educate that to someone who doesn't know even level one. Like, you may be the most advanced coach. Sure, you can
Yeah,
use all the terminology and all the science for the people who understand you, but don't forget that you could use that and apply it to your Gen Pop that doesn't understand anything. But you gotta bring it down, and you have to, if you truly know what you're talking about, you'll be able to explain it to that person who doesn't know what a set or a rep is. You can you can apply
that is
very
exactly it. Like,
advanced program design and this, but to that person, all they really care about is results. You don't have to over stress to someone who doesn't even know what reps and sets are, the technicalities, because they'll look at you and be like, mm-hmm, yeah,
exactly. And probably leave because you've confused them. You probably won't keep them as a client because you've confused them too much. Like, I think that's what makes a good coach, is being able to take the most advanced, complicated terms, training techniques, and whatever,
yeah.
and explain it at the most basic level. And
I promise you
that's what
guys,
does
when
make
it
a good
comes
coach.
to like intimidation, especially again in the industry right now, especially on social media, you can see some coaches that are diving in deep on the technicalities of things, the anatomy, the biomechanics, the this and this, and you're like, overwhelmed, stick to the basics. I promise you, the more you stick to the basics, you're going to target the people who actually
That's it.
need your help. Those coaches are coaches for other people. Know your niche and start targeting your niche.
Yeah,
I wanted to chat a little
that's
bit
that's a
about,
big one too.
your
Yeah,
your other businesses. You are an active PT, but let's talk about, opening a supplement company. You're about to be opening up a new gym. Again, all tied into the industry, but talk to us a little bit about that
yeah,
process for you.
yeah. Well, I think I'll start with the
Yeah.
supplement company first because obviously that's where I started out. So a couple of years into it, I started All Star Nutrition with my business partner Josh, and it was actually a cool one. We went on a hike one day, and we were literally just hiking through the mountains in Australia. I hardly even knew this guy. Like I hardly had friends in Australia, and he was like, "I can see you're into fitness. I'm into fitness. Like, let's just go for a hike." He was a PT as well, and
At all. Like,
went
you
for a
can't
hike, and
tell
we're chatting
somebody
about it,
that
and I
here,
was
like,
like.
let's go in the woods. I don't know you, but
Yeah, I was a little bit skeptical.
fair,
But I was like,
fair.
"Oh, I'm bigger than this guy. I can beat him up if he tries to do something." um, so yeah, we went for the hike, and we were kind of like chatting, and I was like, "Dude, like I spend so much money on supplements, like just because I was like taking so many different pre-workouts, so many proteins, like we were both just smashing it." And I was like, "Spend so much money, like it would be cheaper to open up our own supplement company." And we like laughed about it, and then like we kind of chatted a bit more because obviously I'm in the studying field of things. And I was like, there's so many like missed opportunities in the supplement market. I was like, we could make everything so much better. I was like, the reason I'm jumping from pre-workout and protein to protein is because none of them fit. Like none of them are exactly what I'm looking for. Or most proteins are good. Most proteins
Yeah.
are the same. You kind of just pick your flavor. But especially with pre-workout, I was like, none of them just have the
Yeah.
effects that I want. And I was like, there's so much more modern day research
Yeah.
that because these supplements have been around forever,
Yeah.
this modern day research isn't going into them.
Yeah.
And I was like, we could make it better. And then I was like, I sat him down. I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's start a supplement company. And he was like, yeah, I'm keen. Like, let's do it. And then I guess the main difference between us and everyone else is we acted on it. Like we had that conversation. Like I know people that have conversations about starting businesses all the time. But the next day we went and we registered the business and we spent, the thinking back now, it's actually a long, funny process, but we spent probably weeks just trying to think of a name. Like we literally, I remember us sitting in the shopping mall with like a pen and paper, and we had like 10 pages of names. We were literally just
No,
scribbling
no.
names, and we couldn't think of a name. and and it's like you overthink it. Like we had like a good name, and they were like, oh no, but it reminds us of this, this, and this, and eventually knuckled down on the name and started the process. We found a manufacturer. We did a lot of research on the exact ingredients that we want in our products, and kind of what we can do to give the best product to the customer, but also at an affordable price without making it outrageously priced. Did a lot of research into that. And it also helped me with my PT business because I started doing research into all of these things. I started finding out what ingredients, what foods, what
Yeah.
all of that helps you with your progress. Reached out to our manufacturer, got the raw materials, and then started the fun part, which is the flavoring, and started working on some flavors, kind of what flavors we wanted to do. So we are both suckers for like treats and lollies and like chocolate stuff and that. So we went with like a Milky Way, like a white chocolate caramel kind of a flavor, and like a cookie dough brownie chocolate flavor. And went back and forth with the manufacturer, taste testing those, eventually finding the right flavor. And yeah, from there, that's kind of where we broke out and launched our supplement company. And like PTing, it's us two still, because we're a small company. It's us two. We wear all the hats, like you said. Like I'm out here doing deliveries. I'm also out here making Instagram posts, but I'm also back here designing the products. I'm also owning the company. Like we're literally doing everything from the ground up, and it's a lot of work and a lot of money investment.
I
That
think
was
rule of
the
thumb
biggest
is
knock,
you
I
have
would say.
to, if you are passionate about something, you have to let go of that fear of failure, because at the end of the day, if things go south, you learn something from it and you can always act on it so it can flip
Yeah,
sides again, right? It's sometimes people think of something and they know they can do it or they want to do it, but they stop because they're afraid. And then you never know. How are you going to know if you never actually try, right? You don't have to always
Exactly.
be number one. Like when it comes to PT, you don't have to be the best coach in the world. I'm sure you're going to be the best coach in the world for that group of people that you're working with, right? It's like chasing this like dream of like, I want to be the
100%.
next, but you don't have to. Not everybody has to. You can be super successful
No,
and not be the best one in the
exactly.
world. Like it's this type of chasing a
Yeah,
game you don't even actually want. Do you really want to do that? Right? Like, and this is PT, not talking about the supplements, but
yeah,
you're going to big giants, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I actually said that to Josh when we were starting out because
Yeah.
we made a lot of mistakes, like a lot of mistakes that cost us a lot of money. Like to just give you an idea, I think we ordered our delivery bags, like that's the protein obviously goes into to send off to the customers. And we spent thousands of dollars on those delivery bags, our custom delivery bags. They came and they were all the wrong size. We couldn't even fit a tub of protein in them. And like, I sat there with Josh and he's looking at me and he's like, we've just like spent all this money on these bags and we can't even use them. Like we literally have to throw them away. And I looked at him and I was like, you know what? Like,
Whatever.
it's shit. We've lost this money. But I was like, I don't see it as a
Yeah.
mistake. I see it as we paying for lessons. I was like, every time we lose money, I said, I'm not seeing it as we're losing money.
Yeah.
Just see it as we're paying for a lesson learned. So I was like, right now, we've paid
You'll
to not be
never
dumb and to check the
make an
sizing
order
of the bags
that
before
again.
we order them. And that's what I said. I said we've lost these $1,000, but when we're doing bigger things, we will
Yep.
always make sure we check everything before making that mistake. Like we're not going to be complacent. And then we actually ended up keeping the delivery bags.
Boom.
And when we got our
Was
pre-workout,
no
they fit
way.
the pre-workout,
Yeah.
so it wasn't a waste. And in the end, but yeah, just back to what you said. It's like if you're failing, you're learning. Like you're not going to get better unless you're failing, and you're only going to fail if you're trying new things, which is what you want to
And
do.
if you're
If
not
you
failing,
never
you're
try
not
new
doing
things,
the
you're never
right
going to fail.
thing. That's
And
like as easy as it gets, but it's the truth. And it's that
that's
type of
it.
thing where you have in all areas, whether it's with your career, with businesses, if you're a competitor, whatever, you have to kind of like expect that to be happening sometimes. Like be welcome to it. Be like, I get excited
Yeah,
when I fail at something because I'm like,
that's
shit, I
yeah.
have room to grow, to learn. Like
I'm exactly
it
the
is
same.
not a negative thing for me. And it
Yeah,
took a while to learn that. As a competitor, you've
no,
experienced it yourself. That's one thing that's where I learned it in competing and then in my business. It's when I didn't get what I wanted, when I realized, I did fall short and I know why I did. And I learned how to improve consistently. And it's like across the board on all things,
be
business,
better next time.
competing, everything. Um,
Yeah,
what about your gym venture? Talk to us a little bit about that
100%.
because that's a whole new world as well.
Yeah, that's a whole new one. And to have all of them at the same
Yeah.
time is a hard knock on the bank account, if I can say that. That's tough, but it has been good. So basically, after getting into the industry, kind of got, I would say, pretty good with my online clients and my face-to-face. And I was in the mix. I was kind of like, obviously, I had Dane reach out to me to start training him and the family at home. And I was just surrounded by really good people and really motivating people, especially Dane as well. Like he
And
was a
for
big,
those of you
I
who may
guess,
not be
push in
familiar,
everything.
those in Aussie are definitely familiar with Dane, but for people here in the States, Dane was probably during his time of being an active PT in the industry in Australia and owning gyms. It was just remarkable at the success that Dane brought to fruition with one-on-one private gym coaching in Australia. And it was that like remarkable. It was remarkable. And it
was
I
insane.
think being around someone like that is truly inspiring. And for anyone who's not familiar, if you're listening to this, Dane is the founder and CEO of Clean Health. Do a little Google search and you'd be like, damn, it's impressive.
That's it. It is. And so being around him was definitely motivating, getting messages at like 4 a.m. And I'm like, right, I should be working. But so obviously surrounded by some really good guys. And I had probably my best mate, Mitchell Briggs. He's, like I said, top class PT. And we had another PT who I actually hadn't met at that time, Jaden White, who is a practicing exercise scientist. Really, really smart dude, really switched on. And we kind of all just had different aspects with our clients. Like I was obviously more the sporting and bodybuilding side of things. Briggs is more like the gen pop kind of trainer. And then Jaden is like that really switched on smart scientific guy. And we all had different aspects, and we're having a chat, and me and Briggs kind of came up with the idea. We're like, there's something missing in the industry. And we had kind of seen the circle go where I'm sure we all saw it, where it started with like over the years, like the cardio bunnies, like everyone was just going to gym to kind of run on the treadmill or do something like that. And then it kind of switched to the group classes where it was like the F45s, like the stuff like the group training, just high intensity hit. And then it kind of turned to the one-on-one PTs, and everyone was getting a PT. Everyone was like, just like one-on-one is the way to go. And then it kind of like came to more that online coaching side of things. And we kind of guessed where it was going, and it's into that semi-private. So it's like you kind of have that combination of one-on-one and group, one-on-one and online, but also that gym aspect, still like community aspect. And we were like, we need to open something that suits these needs, and we can just see this gap in the market. And I think it was just a natural progression for me. I've always wanted to own my own gym, and we have kind of made something different. There's nothing like it on the coast. So we sat down, we decided we're going to open up a gym. We found a place, it's still being built, and had the conversation, look, can we afford it? I know it was definitely a big expense. They even split three ways, like buying all your equipment. Like there's a lot more that goes into a gym than what you think. And I think I found that with all the businesses, even back at the PT business, a lot more that goes into that than you think. Like you should always be prepared. Like we said, the advertising, the marketing, all of that. Supplement companies, same thing. A lot more that goes into it than what I expected. And you kind of just got to take it on the chin and go with it. Like you can't start this business, get to step one, realize, oh shit, there's actually like 15 things I didn't know about, and backtrack and run away. Like you got to just take it on and go. Same thing with the gym. Open the gym, or we're still waiting to open, but started the gym process and realized there was way more going into it than when we thought. And we just had to knuckle down and kind of go through it to chase these dreams. So yeah, we now opening our gym. It's going to be exclusive. The whole, I guess, concept behind it is that it's this exclusive gym where, as you know, the best way to get results is to be on a structured program. So to train at our gym, you have to be on a program, whether it's with us coaches or a program from the gym itself. You have to be on a program, and it's just, we wanted to make it that way so that it is people getting results. You're not just coming into the gym and like mucking about and not getting results and kind of just spinning your wheels. You're getting results. And then the other aspect is we've capped it at 50 people. So it's going to be super exclusive. And the reason for that is, like we spoke about before as well, is we want people that are serious about their training. We want people that are committed to getting to the gym and getting results, because we don't want to waste anyone's money, but we also don't want to waste our time and their time. So we've capped it at 50 people. You kind of have to be ready to get results and serious about your training and be on a training program. And then you can train at this kind of private exclusive facility where we know you're not going to be waiting for equipment, because I've been frustrated going into a gym and you've got to wait 30 minutes before you can get a lat pull down. Like, it's the worst. So that's kind of what we've been diving into at the moment. And you learn so much. My favorite thing about being within the fitness industry is you can learn things from every single aspect of it to apply to every single other aspect and business. Like I'm learning things from the gym that I'm applying in my PT business. I'm learning things from a supplement company that I'm applying in the gym business. Like it's all just crossovers. And it's,
so given that,
you
are putting a dent into your journey of, your business ventures, being a PT, talk to us about, for example, where do you see yourself in like 3-4 years from now in terms of your career and what you envision for yourself going on the path that you are?
Well, yeah, I definitely think for me, it would be first point opening this gym. We're about, I would say, 6 weeks off now. So we'll hopefully be open in 6 weeks. Opening this gym, obviously filling to capacity for the members, in a couple of years, I'd want to expand. We've already kind of spoken to the developer about taking over the place next door to us, and we'll just knock the wall down and double our space, and probably go to about 80 people that can join then. So my goal would definitely be having that gym, improving my online offering, like obviously pushing people into the gym, but then taking my own online clients, and obviously a more exclusive bunch. Like I'd probably smaller my load, but be able to focus on them a lot more and just give them a better service. And then same thing with PT. I don't want to give up PTing completely. I want to maybe keep 3 to 5 clients, and again, just a super small lessened amount of people, but I can really just focus on them a lot and just stick to that training. And then from there, be able to run and operate my businesses. That'll just give me time to work on the company, to work on the gym, and my online company, obviously, and just work on those businesses and really
realistic
get them
goals in the sense of, with the amount of drive and the amount of growth we're able to make over these years, if you're staying on path and true to like your core values as a coach, as a business owner, success is inevitable if you never give up. That's my rule. The timeline doesn't matter. It might not be 3 years. It may be 2, it may be 1, it may be 5, it may be 6, right? It's like you won't fail if you're not giving up. What would you say are, and this is a question we ask all of our industry leaders, as we're little baby industry leaders here. What would you say are your 3 takeaways from our listeners, lessons or any tips, or, what do you want our listeners to take away from listening to our podcast today from you?
Number 1, I would say, is chasing what you're passionate about, because if you're passionate about it, you're going to put in a lot more work into something than if you're not passionate about it. That would definitely be number 1. Whatever you feel like you should be doing, you should probably give it a crack. Don't just leave it in the back of your head. If you feel like you should be doing something, or you want to do something, do it. Like there's nothing holding you back. That would be number 1. Number 2 would be to really have that adversity and push through those tough times, because you know that the good times are going to be there. Like you said, like we just said, you can never fail if you never give up. So as a PT, as in the fitness industry, like I've worn most of the hats as a gym owner, as a supplement company owner, as a PT. You are going to fail. Failure is inevitable. You are going to fail, and just keep pushing. Just never give up. Just keep going. Keep chasing your dreams, and eventually you'll have that breakthrough. Like you said, whether it be 1 year, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, you'll make it. And number 3 would be, I guess, the lesson that I said to Josh is, don't see a monetary loss as a loss. See it as a lesson. You're just paying for that lesson.
I think it's kind of going to be interesting, maybe even like 5 years from now, kind of looking back at where we are now and our thought process, and like, where we were and the things we were afraid about. And like, even just looking back 5 years from now, I'm like, dang, I'm proud of myself. Like, I surprised myself.
Yeah. Well, even speaking to you in Sydney, like hearing when we were obviously at the expo together, hearing how you've come up from there to there, and you were teaching me things, and I was like, geez, you've really excited. And for all of our listeners, I'm keen to see how we go.
You heard it here first, okay? We're going to be coming back here on this podcast, and we're going to be the industry leaders, all right? For those of you guys, don't forget that you can always follow us on Instagram. I will put the ads. It's going to be when it's posted. You can listen to our podcast and share this. It's going to be on YouTube, on all streaming platforms. For all things free education, make sure you're following us on the Clean Health Institute Instagram page. Join our Clean Health student group on Facebook. YouTube, guys, follow us on YouTube, where we're providing, that is your library for all things education. It is your free education resource. Make sure you're keeping your eyes open for master classes. Listen, Clean Health has been like the golden nugget when it comes to fitness education that is completely free. And there's a lot of valuable education in the courses that we provide as well. So your master coaches here, we're signing off. Thank you guys so much for
Thanks.